as always, on every Tuesday from my office here in Hamilton, New Zealand. As you guys who follow my work can see that the background has changed quite a bit. Normally, I tend to talk from an office, which has got a lovely wooden background, but I have changed my home and I'm setting up a new office in my garage here in a part of New Hamilton called Rototuna, which is the northern suburb of Hamilton. And I decided I'm going to showcase my new background, which is going to hopefully become the new background for all my live broadcasts, which come on every Tuesday on YouTube as well as on Facebook. And yeah, that's what it's all about today, guys. So I'm going to get out of the way and let you guys have a look at that quick background. That's where I'm living now. And you guys can, yeah, that's my car there. And that's my cycle there, which I sometimes, use to get out and do some exercising and stuff like that. But hey, look, I'm still setting up this office. They say that every great company started from a garage. So our company is already started and it's been up and running for a while now. But I said, okay, what the heck? It's never too late to bring it into a garage. So that's what I'm doing now, and plan to convert this beautiful, lovely carpeted garage into my new office. So right now I'm kind of, all over the place a little bit. There, my garage door is open. I hope to get a glass background eventually at some stage, and ensure that you don't hear the dog barking and the birds chirping. So those kinds of things. But also, I want to let you know that we were supposed to go live today from the outdoors. Myself and a colleague of mine called Sai, who is one of our team leaders for our team in India. He, as well as our other team leader called Mukta, are both visiting New Zealand at the moment, and they are about 10 minutes away in that direction, staying in a hotel right now. And I was supposed to take Sai trekking up a mountain that I do about once or twice a week, and we guys were supposed to come live from that trek, but then, as you guys can see, it's a bit cloudy out there, and it's been raining on and off, and we didn't want to take a chance to take our computers or our mobile phones and kind of end up in a bit of a drench. So I said, okay, I'm going to do the outdoors, but I'm going to kind of show the outdoors from my garage. There you guys see, that's a bit of the New Zealand outdoors for you. That's the view from my new home, where I've shifted. And that little piece of brown you see there, that is the new motorway that is being built around Hamilton. And that's going to be sort of like the ring road or the bypass for Hamilton, where people from Auckland going further down south can kind of skip Hamilton if they want to. They shouldn't, because we are a beautiful town. But hey, look, if somebody is in a bit of a hurry to go south, that's the motorway they can take. So yeah, very soon, in a few months' time, my family and I, we're going to be watching a lot of cars zipping down that motorway. And this is going to be the new office for myself. And as always, I'm supported by my wonderful, lovely team who is on Skype with me and will keep telling me about all you beautiful people who are trying to get in touch with us. And as always, I also start by showing my license, which was given to me by the government of New Zealand, and which gives me the opportunity to sit here week after week, and sometimes, more often than that, to be able to come live and talk to all you beautiful people who are considering coming to New Zealand, either for education or migration or both put together. Right. So what's been happening in my life all the since the last time I came live? A lot, actually. I mean, to be honest, guys, if I look a little groggy or I sound a little groggy, yes, I am, because I had very little sleep last night. In the morning, I mean, I work pretty late into the night. So, but then today we had a very early morning start, myself and our senior manager here in New Zealand called Mary. We woke up very, very early, and then we had to beat the traffic to reach Auckland, because one of our students called Rena Thomas, who's doing a course in business, was presenting her dissertation to her lecturers in Vitoria Polytechnic, which is one of the good polytechnics here in New Zealand. So a few months back, Rena called me and said, "Hey, Aaron, I'm looking for some help from you guys. As part of my course, I need to do a dissertation. Is there something you can suggest or recommend? And I was like, hey, Rina, why are you looking anywhere else? Why don't you do a research topic for AJV itself? You're an AJV student, and we'd be happy to support you any which ways you can. And she was like, okay, so what is the dissertation that I can do for you guys? I said, hey, look, international education to New Zealand is a up and coming industry. We are the fourth largest industry in New Zealand, and it's supporting about 50,000 jobs and brings in about $5 billion of revenue for this country. And we at AJV are trying our best to do this business as transparently, as openly, and with as much enthusiasm and energy as we can. And but one thing we're not aware of is to understand what our students are feeling after they land in New Zealand. So how about doing a customer satisfaction survey? So she said, hey, look, that's a great project because I'm also one of your students and I would love to know, from other people who also came to New Zealand through AGV as international students and do a research project. So we gave her this research project as part of her internship, and we were very pleased to be able to support her because we always try to walk the talk and not just be people who are recommending that you should come to New Zealand and that kind of let go of you after you get your visa. We are not people like that. In fact, I think what sets us apart and differentiates us from a lot of other companies is the fact that we are kind of walking the talk and holding the hand of our students after the land in New Zealand, because according to us, the real drama, the real challenges start after you land in New Zealand. So we said, hey, look, we're going to support you in the best ways we can. So we gave her this internship project, and then she took it up and she came out with a beautiful presentation today. Mary and I were quite blown away with the kind of research she came out with. So she reached out to a lot of our other AGV students who are already in New Zealand and did a customer satisfaction survey to check if these guys are and girls are happy with what we've been doing and trying to support them after they reach New Zealand. And yeah, by and large, they all seem to be good. I think there was a very high percentage of people who said they were either very highly satisfied or very satisfied with the kind of support we guys are providing to our students in New Zealand. There was a small percentage, of course, which said we could have done better. So we're going to go back to this report from Rina and try to understand where we can do better. But bottom line, guys, is hey, look, we understand that international education or migration to New Zealand is not an easy task. It requires a lot of time, money, and effort, and it's filled with a lot of challenges, each and every day after you land here. There's actually a very interesting curve that Rina shared today in her presentation, which says that, at the time you're about to land in New Zealand, you're like, big smile on your face, big as, you're grinning from ear to ear, and then it kind of keeps dropping down. And then right at the bottom, I think around 6th month or 7th month is when it kind of hit the rock bottom. And then it slowly begins to pick up again. And I think eventually over 12 to 24 months, you go from that happiness to, kind of being low, and then you go back to being happy all over again. So we understand that because, this company started like has been started by migrants like myself and Mary and all our other beautiful onshore colleagues here, plus this wonderful team we have back in India who supports all of you. So we are about 40 people at the moment, and it's been an exceptional experience for all of us. So we understand that curve because we've experienced it ourselves. So what we guys at AGB are trying to do is to ensure that you are able to be held along the journey, and for us to be able to share our experiences and make it successful for you guys. So yeah, I mean that's what's been happening in my life, but otherwise things are just the same, just a new place, new background, and hopefully when it's not a cloudy day, you guys will get to see a beautiful sunset in the background, because you can't see it right now today, but behind those clouds about there is a beautiful mountain called Pirongia. And when it is sunset and it's not cloudy like today, guys, it's amazing. So hey, look, get ready for a new background going forward from today. Cool. End of my opening statements, and let's get down to the questions today. And quite a few of my awesome colleagues have joined in. Quite a few of you other guys and girls have joined in from different parts of the world. Hi, Ramai. Welcome to this live session. For because this is going live on YouTube as well as on Facebook, I would request you guys who want to ask some questions to try and ask it on Facebook, because that's what will help me to manage the session better, because as it is, I'm in a new place. I'm kind of trying to find my way around this table and this computer and everything else, so it'll be easier for me to work with one tab rather than two tabs and toggle between them. All right, cool. Here we go. The first question is from Joban Thind, and Joban asks, how good is graduate diploma in applied management and business management from Toy Ohomoy? All right, cool. Okay, now number one, let's talk about the institution. Toy Ohomoy. Toy Ohomoy is a government-owned and operated polytechnic or institute of technology here in New Zealand, and as you know, like I said, because it's owned and operated by the government of New Zealand, there's a very high amount of accountability. So you guys are safe and secure in a nice environment. So you guys are kind of pretty safe as international students who are paying a pretty high fee. So Toyo Homai is a government-owned and operated institution. No problem about that. As regards the graduate diploma in applied management, Joban, with the new change in rules, which kicked in from the 26th of November. And so the new rules are that if you're going to do a graduate diploma and you're not going to do that graduate diploma outside Auckland, if you're going to do that graduate diploma outside Auckland, then you'll be eligible for a 2-year post-study work visa. So my point to you, Joban, is if you are able to actually, instead of looking at a graduate diploma, if you're able to look at a postgraduate diploma, perhaps it will be a better option for you, because then you'll be able to get 3 years post-study work visa, which is much better than 2 years, obviously, because you're going to get one whole extra year for you to be able to settle into New Zealand's environment, create your networks, and find a job. So my first recommendation to you would be to try and see if you can get into a postgraduate diploma as against a graduate diploma, because you're going to get 1 year of post-study work visa extra. The other thing, Juban, is the graduate diploma in applied management or the postgraduate diploma in applied management, just from my perspective, as somebody who's been around in the industry for a long time, not only in international education, but before that, I worked with beautiful companies like Xerox and Canon and Tata Teleservices. So that's my background. And I can tell you that people wanting to do management, it will be ideal if you have some amount of work experience before you jump into management courses, or aspiring for management roles, because you've got to work your way up the ladder before you're able to claim and say, hey, look, I want to be a manager. So I'm not sure, you have not shared your background with us, Joban, and my colleague Neha tells me that you are in touch with one of our other advisors called Aniket, and that you have not applied through AJB yet. So I would strongly encourage you, Joban, to share your documents with Aniket, and then based on that, we will be able to take a much more deeper, look at your background and your qualifications and everything else. And then based on that, we can tell you, hey, look, yeah, absolutely, the graduate diploma is good enough for you, or maybe you should be looking at a postgraduate diploma, or who knows, you might be having the ability to actually do a master's in business management or something like that from University of Waikato or one of these places. So, Joban, I would request you to go ahead and share your documents with Aniket, and based on that, we will be able to come back and give you a much more precise answer about it's good or not good for you. The course itself is good. The institution is fantastic. Whether it is good for you or not, we can only decide once we look at your documents. All right, Joban, hope that makes sense. And hey, look, just sharing your documents doesn't mean we're going to land up on your doorstep and hound you to work with us or come to New Zealand. We are not people like that. We are very cool. We are very chilled out. We are like, absolutely going to just give you our best suggestions. And then based on that, you can take an informed decision. And if you would love to work with us at AJB, because we would love to work with you, we promise our best support to you after you land in New Zealand. And also, while you're still in your country, we would be delighted to work with you and ensure you're getting the right guidance about your admission and visa. All right, cool, guys. I always tend to, answer, I think, the first few questions in a slightly more elaborate fashion. So, yeah, absolutely. Let's keep going. Satyaki Maitra says, hi. Hi, Satyaki. Kia ora. Ketapefia Kwe, which is, how are you? Um, all right. Thompson Thomas asks, can you suggest good civil postgraduate diploma courses? Yeah, Thompson, I mean, there would be quite a few good postgraduate courses in the civil engineering subject. And civil engineering is in our skill shortage area of New Zealand at the moment. This is the long-term skill shortage area of New Zealand. Practically all engineering professions and occupations are in the long-term skill shortage list of New Zealand. And civil engineers, absolutely. I mean, building homes. Look at that background right there. New homes being built, new roads being built. That is an empty piece of land in front of my house, and I'm sure very, very soon it's going to be filled with homes as well. And that whole piece of land you guys see there. In fact, somewhere on the horizon there is the skyline of Hamilton. So a small town like Hamilton, which is only about 150,000 people, is also growing quite exponentially. And places like Auckland and Wellington and Christchurch are absolutely going through the roof. So there's a very good demand for people who are civil engineers. Within civil engineering, of course, you could possibly even be looking at getting into road engineering and stuff like that. So I think overall it's a very, very good choice. You must consider coming to New Zealand because we have a requirement for civil engineers. And if you're working with a company like AJV, we would be delighted to work with you and provide you that support even after you land in New Zealand, Thompson. And yeah, so well, you haven't mentioned whether you're already in touch with our team. Sorry, guys and girls, I'll keep looking down a little bit because I got to keep checking to see if my team is giving me the right inputs every time I read out one of your names. They kind of ping me back and say, hey, look, they're in touch with me or not in touch with me, touch with us. So, we're pretty organized that way when we're coming live on this session. So, yeah, cool. So, Thompson, I would request you to share your documents with us. I normally also have a piece of paper where I show how to get in touch with us. But today I don't have that piece of paper because my office is very disorganized at the moment. And I'm going to set it up hopefully by the next live session. But hey, look, all you've got to do is email your CV to info@ajvglobal.com. Ensure that your contact number is there and we will take it up and we will, ensure that you are getting it. And hey, team, if you're listening to me, one of you please quickly type our toll-free number as well so that I can also start reading that out. All right, cool. Okay, there you go. My team is really quick, guys. Okay, there you go. So Jyoti has typed to me, our toll-free number is 1-800-103-6525. That's the toll-free number that we've set up for all our prospective clients and students in India. That's because a majority of our clients and students come out of India. So yeah, but then for those of you who are not in India, or if you prefer not to contact us on phone and you'd rather just send us your documents, please email it to info@ajvglobal.com. We've set up a toll-free number in India, guys, because that's where the majority of our clients come from. But hey, look, we'd love to cater to clients from everywhere across the world. We've had clients from Brazil, from China, from Singapore, from UAE, from Kenya, Uganda, Maldives, Mauritius, pretty much everywhere. So yeah, just go ahead and send us an email. All right, cool. Okay. The next question is from a gentleman called Arun Pranav. Hey, fantastic first name, I must say. Okay, I was just being very modest there, but Arun Pranav writes, hi, good morning, sir. I have chosen postgraduate diploma in mechanical engineering. Please explain me, is it worth to study mechanical course in New Zealand? Hey, Arun, I think it's kind of weird to be telling my own name, but yeah, what the heck? I'm sure there are a lot of other Aruns around in this world, but so Arun Pranav, yeah, absolutely. Mechanical engineering is a good course to choose in New Zealand because, as I told you, as an answer to the previous question, practically every engineering occupation and profession is in the long-term skill shortage list of New Zealand. So we require a lot of engineers here in this country. And it is my personal opinion. And of course, the government of New Zealand is also working out on that particular pathway and that policy where international students can come and study in particular subjects, and hopefully they will go on to address our long-term skill shortages, especially in areas like engineering. So that's the reason they provide a 3-year post-study work visa, so that you're, I mean, provided you're doing the right level of course. So that's exactly what these guys are, the government has been figuring out as a policy, and it's working like a charm. So, about 19 to 20% of international students every year go on to acquire their residency, especially if you're coming for something like mechanical engineering, which is in our long-term skill shortage area. Absolutely good choice. It is just that you have not mentioned whether you're working with AJV as a prospective student, because like I said, Arun and everybody else who is watching this live broadcast right now, it is not just the course, the college, and the cost, and the city, and so on and so forth. Because coming to a foreign country and trying to get yourself into the system and trying to go through that curve of happiness to a little bit of sadness to bouncing back again up to happiness means you require a good coach and good counselors and good guidance, especially after you land here in New Zealand, because a lot of your young people who come get onto a plane with stars in your eyes and all kinds of big dreams in your head, but the reality is very different, guys. For instance, for me to be able to buy this house here and sit here and talk to you was a big, massive, challenging thing. So what people like me and my entire team based here in New Zealand, we are providing. So what AJV is doing is we're providing that clean cut a continuation of you guys coming from a foreign country, landing in New Zealand, and as against a clean cut there, which is what a lot of other companies do. We're holding your hand from there and beginning to, take you further on the journey. And what you guys require is a lot of information, a lot of guidance, and sometimes just the confidence and the networking with other people and those kinds of things. So, and that's what I think is what is setting us apart, because every week I keep seeing that the number of people watching my live broadcast is going up, the number of people inquiring is going up, and overall it looks like we, very soon we will emerge as possibly the largest recruiter of international students for institutions here in New Zealand. So it's all looking good. And I think the one key factor that is really helping us to be on this steep growth path is the fact that we are present in New Zealand. It is not just this individual called Arun Jacob. There's a whole team of us present here in New Zealand. There's myself, there's Mary, our senior manager, who, by the way, is also about to get her license as an advisor, immigration advisor, in the next week or 10 days' time. There's Gisela Combrink, who is also a very senior and very experienced licensed immigration advisor. There is Virginia, who is an ex-immigration officer and now working with us as a customer service manager here in New Zealand. There is Prakash, who is an ex-student who came as an international student through AJV and now working with us as a full-time software developer. And then we have this whole bunch of other of our students here in New Zealand who are also part of our extended family here, who are all putting their hand up and saying, hey, Arun and team, whenever there are new people who are looking for support or advice, please connect them to us as well. So we're also networking them, our new students with our old students, and creating those bonds where you guys can talk to each other. So if somebody is coming, let's say for mechanical engineering, we'll try and hook them up with somebody who's already done the mechanical engineering and now working in a job and moving towards residency. And that's the kind of ecosystem that we guys are trying to create here. So if you guys are serious about success in New Zealand, I think you need to work with a company like AJV. And yeah, sure, this is obviously a pitch for you to become our client, but this pitch is as much for you as it is for us as well. All right, cool, guys. Cool. Next one is from Srijesh Mohan. Got admission to Wentech and Fiteria Porirua for PG diploma in IT through you guys. Which one is the best, Wentech or Fiteria? Wellington has most jobs, so should I go there or just move after studies? Okay, Man, you really put me on a spot there, Srijesh. But hey, look, before anything else, first and foremost, thank you so much for choosing to work with us. Srijesh, much appreciated. Smart young people like you have the option of picking and choosing to work with any company anywhere in this world. But when you guys decide to work with us in AJV, I mean, first and foremost, deep gratitude. Thank you for choosing us. And obviously, you've done your research and you understand it's best to work with a company that's based in New Zealand. Hey, look at me. I'm talking to you from New Zealand right now. I'm not a guy sitting somewhere in a small little office somewhere in outside New Zealand and trying to talk to you about New Zealand. I'm sitting here right now listening to the birds of New Zealand in the background, looking at the backdrop of New Zealand in the background, and telling you that, hey, look, this is a good place, and we are also there to support you. But so thank you, Srijesh, for choosing to work with us. Coming back to your question, Fiteria or Wintech, mm, both of them are good institutions. Both of them are owned and operated by the government of New Zealand. I have great friends in both the institutions, so it's very difficult for me to say pick one over the other. But I think what you've got to do is go through the papers of each of these courses and see which of those papers appeal to you most. Because the papers will not be the same, obviously they'll differ a little bit. So I would strongly recommend that you take a look at the papers, have a discussion with your AGV advisor, but you need to pick those papers. Picking those papers is very important. And I think in a situation like this where I'm unable to be the tiebreaker, I think you really need to look at the papers and decide what appeals to you most as an individual. But then here's the other deal. If you're a good cricket player, please come to Hamilton because I'm trying to set up a cricket team. And it'd be awesome to have you on the cricket team. But hey, look, that was just a joke, so don't take that seriously. I would say look at the papers, and then that there will be an answer, Srijesh. Okay, right. Vanessa Charlene asked, right. Vanessa has asked me a question. She says, good day, would I need to be registered with the New Zealand Law Society in order to study a postgraduate course in law? I'm not looking to practice as an attorney in New Zealand. I have an LLB from South Africa. When it's a good question, to be honest, I will not be able to answer that right away because off the top of my head, I cannot recall whether you're required to be registered with the Law Society in New Zealand. To the best of my knowledge, it is not required. But again, like I said, I don't want to make it sound like it is the certain answer to your question. So what I would suggest is give us a little time. We will research that particular answer and come back to you. In the meantime, I also got a message from my team, Vanessa, saying that my colleague Vishal has been trying to be in touch with you, but you have not been responding to his email. So could I request you to, Vanessa, to be in touch with one of our advisors, because when the communication is ongoing is when we can, come back to you with our research and tell you whether it is the right option or not for you, and what are the requirements for your registration, or no requirement for registration. We can come back to you. So if you're able to stay connected with Vishal, my colleague, we will absolutely come back to you with that answer, Vanessa. But to the best of my knowledge, I don't think there is a requirement for you to be registered with the Law Society to undertake a course in New Zealand, especially if you're planning not to practice here. I don't think it's a prerequisite. But like I said, I will not be able to nail it and say, yep, what I'm saying is the exact truth at this point in time. We need to research this and come back to you, and we will be able to do it if you stay in touch with Vishal, my colleague, and we will be ensuring that you get the right information. All right. Thanks, Vanessa. Pranav Sekri asked me, what about open job search after doing graduate diploma in IT in Auckland? Hey, Pranav, good question. Like I said, the rules have changed. 26th of November was yesterday. So the new rules have kicked in. And if you're going to be doing a graduate diploma in Auckland, then you will be eligible only for a 1-year post-study work visa. Ideally, if you are looking at a much longer the post-studies work visa, then it is highly recommended that you choose the same course outside of Auckland rather than inside of Auckland, because hey, look, you're putting in the same time, money, and effort. So you might as well get a 2 years post-study work visa instead of a 1 year post-study work visa. That would be my strong recommendation to you, Pranav. And you have not mentioned, Pranav, whether you're working with AJB or not. Strongly recommend that you get in touch with us. If you're not already in touch with us, we'd love to work with good, smart young people like yourself. And a lot of our ex-students have done really, really well in information technology courses. They've gone on to pick up good jobs and gone on to acquire residency in New Zealand. We'll be delighted to connect you with them and help you to create that network from day one when you land in New Zealand. So, hey, look, get in touch with us if you're not already done it. The mobile number to call is 1-800-103-6525 if you're in India. If you're not in India, just send us an email with your contact details and your CV to info@ajvglobal.com, and we will pick it up and ensure you guys get the right answers. All right, cool. All right, I think I'm taking a little too long to answer your questions, and in the meantime, the questions are jumping up and down. I'm sometimes do get into a talkative, garrulous mode, and I keep going on, and the questions jump up. I'll try and stay brief from here on. Priyanka Sharma, hello, sir. I'm an AJV student. Thank you, Priyanka. I appreciate that. I've completed my MSc Physics Electronics from Mumbai, India. I have a backlog in the final year of graduation. I want to study either study Masters in Data Science or Masters in Astronomy or Masters in Physics from New Zealand. Can you please tell me if the backlog will cause an issue with the admission procedure? What is the scope of data science, astronomy, and physics in New Zealand? What and how are the job opportunities related to astronomy and physics? Well, the question has jumped up already, so unfortunately, I couldn't read the rest of it. But hey, look, Priyanka, thank you at the outset for choosing to work with AJB. Really pleased about it and much appreciated. I think your course choices are fantastic, and you already have a master's and you're looking at doing a further master's in New Zealand. Automatically, at the top of my mind, the University of Canterbury comes to mind because it's got probably one of the best science departments in the country. And so I would strongly endorse and recommend the University of Canterbury. As regards the overall general requirement for people from a scientific background, we are a very scientific and knowledge-based country here in New Zealand. So absolutely, we would be delighted to welcome a youngster like you who's got a solid background already in science and now wanting to go forward from there. So I think overall your choice is good. I would strongly recommend University of Canterbury. Will the backlog be an issue or not? We will only know, Priyanka, once we apply to the University of Canterbury, and we will not apply only to one university. Of course, we will look at other universities as well, and then ensure that hopefully one of them will accept you in case they don't, because by and large I think they should be all right with a backlog if you're eventually able to clear it and get the pass mark, because the university is not bothered so much about a backlog, but whether you eventually passed your course and moved on further is what it's important. Because I had a couple of backlogs when I was doing my degree, for instance, because I was not well for that particular exam. So I carried forward a few backlogs, but eventually I passed my BCom honors, and here I am as a resident in New Zealand. So no problem about that. All right, Priyanka. But hey, look, thanks for choosing to work with us. Very pleased about it, and I look forward to meeting you here in New Zealand soon. You can give me an excuse to travel to Christchurch and say hello to all my wonderful students who are already based in Christchurch. All right, cool. Bhavya Talwar asks scope of sports and exercise. Guys, that's water, by the way, in case some of you wondering. Bhavya Talwar, scope of sports and exercise. Good question, Bhavya, because we are a very, New Zealand is a very sport-oriented country. I mean, rugby is religion here. Cricket is a good sport, and we also do very well in, track and field and swimming and athletics and cycling and rowing, especially. I think we are very good. And sailing is another very big sport here in New Zealand. And I could be, I could be wrong in stating this, but New Zealand does get a lot of Olympic medals as well. And I think on a per capita basis, we are one of the highest medal gatherers in the Olympics and various other world competitions. So very strong sports environment here in New Zealand. So obviously it will create a good opportunity for somebody who's planning to come and do something in sport and exercise. I mean, at the very least, you should be able to get into a gym and this place has also got tons of gyms all around, and fitness is practically the national psyche of the country. So I think you will do pretty well, Bhavya. But hey, look, how about getting in touch with our team, and one of my colleagues and advisors will be able to gather more information from you, and based on that we'll be able to make more suggestions. As I told you, the number to call with us will be 1-800-103-6525. That's the toll-free number we've set up in India. But if you're not in India, or you simply want to get in touch with us through email, then the email address is info@ajvglobal.com. There's something interesting about this number. I've probably told that number like 1,000 times, but it still doesn't stick in my head. I think I'm just getting old and forgetful. All right, next question. Here, if from Vishnu Mohan, if I take graduate diploma health, since I think he means health science, any option for NZD PR? Okay, Vishnu, you don't get a PR just because you do a course in New Zealand. I mean, the way it works is you've got to do a course in New Zealand, which will give you a post-study work visa. And during that post-study work visa period, whether it is 1 year or 2 years or 3 years, however long your post-study work visa is going to be, you'll need to find a job that's relevant to the course you've completed. That job needs to be at a particular level of of occupation, as per something called the ANSCO, which is the Australian New Zealand Standard Classification of Occupations. So it needs to be at the right level as per the ANSCO. Plus, you also need to be able to get the right amount of salary, and that's when you get something called the resident visa. And if you get your resident visa and you stay in New Zealand for 2 years or fulfill some other conditions, is when you get your PR. So a course in itself will not get you your permanent residency, which is what most of you like to call it, PR. But permanent residency, as I keep telling in practically every broadcast of mine, is not a straightaway thing that you guys get. You will need to work your way first up to a resident visa, and then that eventually will lead to a permanent residency. So that's the way the system works, and which is why I keep telling you there are so many steps along the way, to starting from your aspiration to be an international student and work your way to your permanent residency. I'll go one step further and say to become a citizen of New Zealand. It's a very long, drawn-out process, guys. That's the reason I recommend very, very strongly and request and suggest that you guys must work with a company like AJV, which will be there throughout your journey. So what I would recommend, Vishnu, is get in touch with our team and share your contact details and some background information about yourself, and we'll come back and make some suggestions to you. All right, cool. Sachin Kashyap. Hi, Sachin Kashyap from India. How I can take the PR on investment basis New Zealand? Okay, good question, Sachin, because there are various residence pathways into New Zealand. One of the most popular is called the skilled migrant category pathway. Then there is an investor category. Then there is an entrepreneur category, and I have a feeling that you are looking at either the investor category or the entrepreneur category, because investor category there is quite a lot of money required. I have made a special video on this. If you go to my YouTube channel, just go to YouTube and type Arun Jacob New Zealand, and you guys should be able to get my videos. I've actually made videos. There's a playlist called Different Migration Pathways into New Zealand, and there is a video exclusively to say how much of investment is required and some of the steps involved. Or if you're not looking at making a very big investment and you'd rather come as an entrepreneur by setting up a business here in New Zealand, yeah, I've made a video about that as well. So just go to YouTube and type Arun Jacob and look for a search for my playlist, which says what are all the different migration pathways into New Zealand, and you should be able to see them, Sachin. And my recommendation to people like yourself who are keen to invest, a good amount of money into New Zealand, either as an entrepreneur or as an investor, I recommend that you first take a paid consultation with me over Skype or over telephone, and I can gather a lot of information from you in that 1 hour session, and then kind of figure out which is the best option for you. So before you go and make a $500,000 investment or a $1 million investment into New Zealand, it's worthwhile to pay a small amount of money and get 1 hour of my time, and I'll be able to give you exclusive time and speak to you and say, hey, look, this is the right pathway for you, or not right, or not the right pathway for you. Based on that, you can take your decision before you jump in with a lot of money. It's absolutely worthwhile to make a very, very small investment and have a chat with someone like myself, who's got a license to advise about investments and setting up businesses here in New Zealand. Such and so, what I would recommend is send your contact details and your a bit of your business background and about yourself to info@ajvglobal.com. It will get forwarded to me, and we will take it from there. All right, cool. Right. I was reading somebody's question, but it jumped up. Hey guys, sorry if I'm having to skip some questions because I'm taking some time to answer your questions, and in the meantime, the questions are jumping up rather automatically on Facebook. So I'm thinking it is due to the popularity of my show, and because more questions are coming in, it's kind of beginning to jump up. I can see there are already 55 comments, which is good. It looks like we're getting more and more traffic week after week, which is fantastic. It's cool to be a YouTube star, I must tell you that. Man, ESK, if I already have MSc, could I apply for postgraduate diploma? Very good question, man, ESK, because very good question actually, because a lot of you will be wondering, hey, look, I already have a master's. Can I come down to a postgraduate diploma? In my opinion, in my view, from my experience, because we worked with a lot of people who already had a master's, but then came and did a graduate diploma or a postgraduate diploma. Absolutely no problems, man, ESK, if that's your name. As far as we are concerned, there is absolutely no problem as long as there's a good, honest, valid reason for you to be able, to step down from a master's and come back into a postgraduate diploma. Because, hey, look, more often than not, a lot of people, decide who've studied in a different education environment are quite happy to come to an advanced Western country like New Zealand and do a postgraduate diploma, because this is an entirely different level altogether. So as far as we are concerned, man, SK, we don't see any problems. I personally have had a lot of success with people who have done, a master's and then kind of stepped down to do something lower than that. So we have absolutely no problem. What I would recommend is you'll need to work with a good agency who will be able to present your case properly and tell that visa officer why exactly you decided to step down from a master's and do a postgraduate diploma. Again, it's not even stepping down really, to be honest, because I was already a guy also with a very high qualification before I went and did something called the graduate certificate in New Zealand immigration advice. So it was not stepping down, it was acquiring more knowledge for me to be able to get this license and speak to you guys. And so it's not always stepping down, so absolutely no problem, man, ESK. So I would say get in touch with us. The number is 1-800-103-6525. If you're based in India, if you're not based in India, just send us your CV to info@ajvglobal.com, and we will talk to you and give you more information. All right, cool. Vishal Vichare, hi, I complete diploma in hotel management and catering technology. Is there any chance for PR in New Zealand? Vishal, I think I just answered that question rather elaborately, because just having a qualification is no guarantee you will get your permanent residency in New Zealand. If you rewind this session of mine about 3 or 4 minutes before, I explained all the different steps that are required for someone to be able to acquire a residency or a permanent residency in New Zealand. Well, with the spate of policy changes that have been occurring over the last few months and years, it is not an easy pathway for many people to acquire direct residency in New Zealand. So because the government has said, hey, look, you got to tick one of two boxes as a mandatory requirement, which is either you need to have skilled employment in New Zealand, or you need to have an offer of skilled employment in New Zealand, or you should have studied in New Zealand for a minimum of 2 years and acquired either a master's or a PhD. So these are one of these two boxes has to be ticked, otherwise you will not be eligible for a resident visa. So just having a diploma in hotel management is probably not going to be good enough. What I would strongly recommend is you will which is where, as an immigration advisor and as an education advisor, I strongly believe, guys, that education is one of the best pathways to be able to come into New Zealand and be here, spend that money, time, and effort to get yourself a local degree, which will, of course, a lot of local employers would, hugely respect and say, hey, look, this guy's got a Kiwi degree, so hey, that's a big tick mark as far as they're concerned when they're interviewing you. Plus, you'll have the time to create your network and have the legal right to work after you complete your studies. If you get your post-study work visa, so that's the way to do it, guys. So just having a degree is not going to mean anything. So get in touch with us. Send us your CV to info@hjvglobal.com. We will get in touch with you, discuss more, because obviously this is a live Q&A session where I'll have to kind of keep moving from question to question, so we can't get into too much detail. But hey, look, we would be very, very happy. My team and I would be delighted to speak to you and ensure that you're getting all the right information. Based on that, you can take a call and say either it's for you or it's not for you, because there is a lot of money, time, and effort involved. And let me also tell you, it's not an easy pathway. It's going to be quite challenging. But then, hey, look, when you have a good coach here in New Zealand in the form of AJV, hopefully your journey will be a lot easier. All right, cool. Okay, Shlok Sidhu, sounds familiar. Okay, Shlok says, hello, sir, I'm an AJV student. Sorry, guys, I'm going to take a small break to read a message from my team. Okay, Shlok, my team has told me very clearly that you are just collecting a lot of information from us and you're not sharing your documents with us. And so, unfortunately, I will not be able to answer your questions, Shlok, because I don't think it's fair that you speak to us and take my advice and not share your information or documents or commit yourself to be a client of HAV. I think it's not a fair deal because you're getting something out of me. And likewise, we would like to know whether you're going to be our client or not. So, Shlok, please make up your mind, and we'll be delighted to work with you, because I remember seeing you on this forum, on this live broadcast a few times now. So I think you have the interest, but unless until you take a firm positive step, Shlok, if you're going to stay on the wall, unfortunately, we will not be able to help you. So get in there, Mike, because, going abroad is an important decision, and you need to, jump into it with confidence. And if you're going to stay on the wall for too long, then, it kind of also tells us that you're probably not serious. And obviously, we wouldn't want to waste our time and effort. So, Shlok, please make up your mind, let us know, and we'll be happy to answer as many questions as you have. All right, cool. Sajita Pramod, hi, which course has more scope to get job, PR, spouse visa, and children's free education? Level 8 aquaculture course or food science course? Hey, Sajita, first and foremost, for all the questions you asked, I'm just trying to plug in the charger to my phone because it's running out of charge. Okay, so Sujita, which course is more scope to get job or PR or spouse visa? Okay, to be able to get a spouse visa, first and foremost, is quite clear, because with the new rules that have kicked into place, you need to be doing either a level 9 or a level 10 course, which is a master's or a PhD, to be able to get a spouse work visa. So that's quite clearly the answer to your question. But if you're doing only a level 8, your spouse can possibly still accompany you on a visitor visa. But if your spouse is going to come here on a visitor visa, your kids will not get free education and a lot of other questions that you ask. So it looks like you have serious intentions, Sajita, to do it. But like I said, I think you need to be looking at a level 9 or a 10 in case you are very keen for your spouse to join you here on a work visa. If you're like, no, that's all right, my spouse can come here to New Zealand till I finish my level 8, but he doesn't have to work, then yeah, sure, we can possibly look at applying for his visitor visa. But if the spouse is only on a visitor visa, then the kids will not get free education. And as far as your other questions are concerned about whether you'll get a job or PR and spouse, we need to know what subject are you from. I mean, we have no clue what your subject is. So based on that, I'll not be because you haven't shared Of course, you're asking whether aquaculture or food science would be a better course. Definitely food science, from my experience and from what has happened to our clients who have come here in the past. Food science, definitely, no doubt about it. In fact, I can remember all my clients who have done a course in food science have done really, really well. They've gone on to get their work visas and found very good jobs and went on to get their residencies as well. So definitely food science is my suggestion and recommendation. But as regards your spouse and kids and all that, so Jita, I would strongly recommend get in touch with us because you sound like a very serious candidate. And bear in mind that if you're planning to apply for a spouse work visa or your kids' visas, it cannot be done by an ordinary education agent because to be able to apply for any kind of a New Zealand visa other than a student visa, you'll need to work with a company that's got a license or a licensed immigration advisor. Otherwise, it's illegal. And what's happening, unfortunately, in places like India, especially, there's a lot of these education agencies who help with the student visa are kind of telling the clients that, hey, look, I can also do your spouse work visa or I can do your kids work visa, but they're not really allowed to do that because it's illegal, but they get away scot free because they're not based in New Zealand, so the law is not able to catch up with them. But then what immigration officers will do is they will catch hold of you because they are trained to recognize people who are applying for non-student visas, and they kind of know whether it has been tutored by somebody, and they will absolutely catch you. And once they catch you, they will absolutely decline the the whole application of your spouse and kids, and that can lead to other problems. So it is imperative you work with a company like AGV, which has got a few licensed immigration advisors on our ranks. So, and we can work with you. So, Sajita, do get in touch with us, and we'll be happy to work with you. All right, cool. Okay, next question. Vijay Ashish says, my name is Ashish. I would like to inquire regarding your settlement solution for New Zealand visa. Oops. Okay. PR in brackets. I have 2 years certification in electronic mechanics, CCNA and CSA, presently working here in Doha, Qatar, so on and so forth. I believe they have to undergo IELTS. Um, if I can get Sati Vijay, I think you have a lot of questions. Simple answer. It will not be easy for me to answer this question on this live session because I think your questions are quite a lot and it requires a very detailed answer, which I may not be able to give on this session because I need to be fair to everybody else and give my time to everybody equally. May I recommend suggest that you please email your CV to info@ajbglobal.com, or better still, because you're seeking immigration advice about residency, could you just email it to immigrationadvisor@ajbglobal.com? Either myself or one of my colleagues who is a licensed immigration advisor will take a look at it, and then we will come back and tell you. But like I explained about 2 or 3 minutes ago, it's not easy to get direct residency in New Zealand unless and until you have a job a skilled employment in New Zealand, or an offer of skilled employment in New Zealand, or they have studied in New Zealand for at least 2 years and acquired a master's or a PhD. So that's the way the cards fall. So I would suggest you send us your CV to immigration advisor at ajbglobal.com or to info@ajbglobal.com and mention the subject line saying, hey, look, could you please do a residency assessment? Because sometimes, although direct residency is ruled out, sometimes you may be able to get that 160 points, and because of which the Immigration Department of New Zealand might consider giving you something called the skilled migrant category job search visa. And because of that, you might be able to come into New Zealand on a legitimate work visa and be able to find employment. And when you find employment, you tick that box saying that you have skilled employment in New Zealand, and that's how you get your residency. But so just send us your CV and we'll be happy to assess and come back to you free of cost. Nupur Tiwari, what about opportunities for media professionals? Good question, Nupur. It's a very niche area. Not a lot of people opt to come and study media studies in New Zealand. But hey, at least two of my students are doing really, really well, who have come to do media studies here in New Zealand. I think there is good scope for media studies because besides the long-term skill shortage list of New Zealand, there is also something called the identified future growth areas of New Zealand. And in the identified future growth areas of New Zealand, there is media, journalism, filmmaking, so on and so forth. Besides, so there are three identified future growth areas of New Zealand. It's information technology, biotechnology, and the creative industry. Creative industry would include media as well. So it's a good area to be in New Zealand because obviously, if it is designated by the government as an identified future growth area, they're trying to grow it and make it stronger and stronger. And with the fact that we are becoming a massively multicultural country and there's a whole lot of migration happening into this country, so more and more interactions are occurring with the rest of the world. So cannot no longer be just that a single Kiwi thought that is reaching out to the rest of the world. It makes sense. Hey, look at me. I'm a guy who's originally from India, but sitting here and now reaching out to the entire world through Facebook and YouTube and talking about New Zealand to the rest of you. So people like me, like yourself, Nupur, are required in New Zealand because we will connect in a very cultural sense with other people who would want to interact with New Zealand. So I would strongly believe that there is a good scope for media professionals in New Zealand. So warm welcome. My team member Neha has also confirmed that you have applied for a master's in media design um, in New Zealand. So great course choice and at a very fantastic level as well. So I think you'll do really well. And I have a very particular interest in media. So hopefully we'll get together and have some good discussions as well, Nupur. Thank you. Kamran Kashif asks, I've completed MA Economics recently. May I emigrate to New Zealand and what's requirement? Kamran, I just answered this question about two times already in this session. So once the session is over and this becomes a video and sits on YouTube and on Facebook, kindly rewind it, go back and listen to it. And, yeah, the answer is there. Direct migration is almost ruled out, so we strongly encourage the study and settlement pathway. And if you go to my YouTube channel, just go to YouTube and search for Arun Jacob New Zealand, and you should be able to get my channel. And I think after today's session, it'll probably go up to about 200 videos that are up there under my name. So somewhere in there, I have explained very, very clearly how the whole residency process happens. So have a look at it, Kamran, and hey, look, get in touch with us. Just email your CV to info@ajvglobal.com, and we will get in touch with you and talk you through the rest of the process. I mean, I'm sure you guys will appreciate the fact that this is, 1 hour long interaction where I can provide only so much information. But my team and I said, we're 40 people spread across 2 or 3 different countries, and we are absolute professionals, including some ex-immigration officers and licensed immigration advisors, and some fantastic industry professionals who are all there to engage and talk to you and ensure that you're getting the most authentic, honest, friendly, and frank advice about moving to New Zealand. So do get in touch with us. Okay, Aman Sodi, sir, how can grad diploma students in Auckland extend his work visa after 1 year? I mean, Aman, if you're talking about the post-study work visa, I think the only way you can extend your post-study work visa is if you're able to get a job at the right level and at the right salary to be able to apply for something called the essential skills work visa. But otherwise, so purely under the post-study work visa, it may not be possible as per the new rules. So if you're still in doubt, I would recommend that you send your contact details. It sounds like you're already in Auckland and you want to talk to an immigration advisor. So if you were an AGV student by now, one of my team members here in New Zealand would be on the phone and trying to explain to you. But does not matter if you're not an AGV student, just send your query to immigration advisor at ajvglobal.com and we'll come back to you. All right, cool. Suresh Verma says, hello, sir. Recently, I got IELTS General Module 6.0, 6.0, 6.5, 5.0. Am I eligible to apply for expression of interest? I'm having 9 years electronics product development domain. Suresh, same answer which I gave to another gentleman just a couple of minutes ago. Not possible in most instances to apply directly for a resident visa in New Zealand, but hey, look, since you've asked me the question anyway, email your CV to with contact details. Guys, whenever you're trying to email us, please don't just type and say, hey, I'm so and so, I need this information. Please put your contact details there because we would like to pick up the phone and talk to you and ensure that you're getting the right information. And do not be afraid of speaking to us. We are not some Kiwi devils who will land on your back and suck your blood out. No, we are not. We're getting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of inquiries on a day-by-day basis. In fact, sometimes it's difficult for our AJV team to go through all of them. So we're getting like tons of inquiries, guys, and So yeah, but if you're keen, talk to us, and we'd be happy to give you the right information. We'll give you the information. You guys decide whether you want to do it or you don't want to do it. If you want to do it, great. We will all meet here in New Zealand there. If you don't want to come here, it doesn't matter. We'll still be good friends. Please like our Facebook and our YouTube and share it with your friends. That's all we want in return. Okay, Anup Sasindran. I'm working as computer engineer in Kuwait. I have 8 years of experience in IT. I would like to migrate to New Zealand. I don't know the procedure to get there. Please help me about it. The procedure is simple enough. Just email your CV to immigration advisor at ajvglobal.com. We will take a look and let you know whether you qualify. If you qualify for something called the skilled migrant category job search visa, we will let you know. If you don't qualify, we'll put some other options in front of you. You can take a call based on that information that we share you. But hey, look, yeah, like I said, just email your CV to immigration advisor at ajvglobal.com or to info at ajvglobal.com. All right, cool. Dimantha Patirana. Okay, let me check. My team seems to have typed something. Anup says, Anup is a client of one of my colleagues called Catherine. So, Anup, because you're interested to work with us, like I said, send your CV, but obviously you're already in touch with our team. And they probably would have explained to you that direct migration is kind of ruled out. But if you want a more elaborate answer, email your CV to immigration advisor at ajvglobal.com and we will revert back to with the answer. All right. Dimanta Patirana, if I want a graduate diploma and outside of Auckland in electrical engineering, there's a possibility achieve the threshold of 46,000 within 2 years. Dimanta, I mean, don't mind my saying this. I'm not trying to be condescending or trying to be critical, but I have serious concerns about the English that you've typed, unless you've kind of gotten too used to the kind of language that we are all using nowadays in our everyday language. But I have a concern about your English. So before anything else, Dimanta, I would recommend that you actually write your IELTS and see where you stand because to be able to get to any sort of a decent status in New Zealand, which is essentially residency, which is what most of you are looking for, you need to get at least a 6.5 in IELTS. And I kind of have a feeling that there might be some concerns with your English. So if you are able to address that, I think the rest of it can be sorted out later. So email your CV to info at ajvglobal.com. We'll get in touch with you, talk to you, and see how best we can take you to what you're hoping to achieve. And we'll be brutally honest. If we think your English is not good enough to be able to make this attempt, we'll tell you and say, hey, look, don't waste your money, time, and effort because, it's not for everybody, to be honest. And, you shouldn't be doing it if you're not prepared. I know everybody wants to be a, NBA basketball player, but not everybody is able to reach that level. So, sometimes you got to be realistic about your abilities and learn when to take a step backwards and say, maybe this is not the thing for me before somebody coaxes you into spending money, time, and effort. So definitely not from AJV. We'll tell you upfront and tell you, hey, look, you're good enough to come and attempt this study plus settle pathway, or maybe not. So that's my sincere recommendation to you. Okay. Hi, this is Muhammad Mufid. Can you give me the details IT postgraduate diploma courses and the details? Okay, Muhammad, I wish I could read out all the courses available and at the postgraduate level in IT. Would be very difficult for me to do that, Muhammad. Could I request you, please, to email your CV and your contact details with the same request to info@agbglobal.com. My amazing and wonderful team will send you a whole bunch of courses. We guys have actually created a lovely you know Excel sheet of the most popular courses in New Zealand for IT, for sciences, for business, for multimedia, media, so on and so forth. So we'd be happy to share that, Mohammed. But like I said, it may not be possible for me in this particular session to be able to um, give you all the details because first and foremost, I can't recall all of them off the top of my head as much as I would like to think that I have a good memory. I do not, so I will not be able to reel them off the top of my head. So yeah, what I'd say is, yeah, just send us, get in touch with us, 1-800. Uh, uh, Sorry, I lost track of it. Somebody was trying to call me in the middle of my live session. Just email your CV to um, info@ajvglobal.com, Mama, and we'll come back with the suggestions. I mean, come on, guys, I'm in a live session. Don't call me when I'm in my live session. Seriously, you got to exercise more caution than that. Right. Last few questions, I guess. What time is it? Okay, we're almost coming to the end of it about now. My team will start telling me time up, time up, time up. Okay, there's a question from Allah Kartikeya who says he's got an excellent portfolio according to my team and he's awaiting his course confirmation to proceed further. And Kartikeya writes from YouTube saying, "Hello, Arun. I'm an AGV student. Thank you very much, Kartikeya. I'm in touch with Ruben. He's a fantastic guy. Masters in Professional Business Analysis, Wellington ICT School, or Masters in Digital Business, University of Waikato, in terms of job and PR." Okay, good question. Again, man, you guys always put me in trouble because both of them are fantastic schools. Both of them are very, very good courses. um, Professional business analysis at Wellington ICT School versus Masters in Digital Business, University of Waikato. Very difficult, Kartikeya, because both of them are very, very good institutions, and I think your courses that you've chosen are also very, very good. And obviously, you're choosing masters at both the places. They're very similar, obviously. Professional business analysis versus masters in digital business. Mm, it would be good to know a little bit more about your background, Kartikeya, to be honest, before I can answer that particular question, because it won't be right on my part to say pick A or pick B, because if you are obviously very clearly an IT background person, then I guess the professional business analysis would make more sense. But if you're not a out and out IT guy and you've had a lot of let's say uh, business kind of a background along with IT skills, then probably the masters in digital business, because that obviously seems to be leaning a bit more towards business, whereas the other one seems to be leaning a bit more towards analysis, which is a bit more technical. So that would be my recommendation, Kartikeya, is that take a look at the papers in each of these courses, because you've definitely chosen two of the best courses available in New Zealand from two of the best institutions. So it is kind of, how do you pick and choose is kind of always going to be a bit of a toss up. So I would recommend in situations like this is spend some time, sit down and go through each one of those papers. If you're not able to get those papers, request Ruben to source the course curriculum for you, and then put those papers one next to each other and read through each of the topics in each of those papers, now papers in each of those courses, and then say, hey, look, that talks to me more than this. And then that's where your answer would be cut here. But hey, at the end of the day, thank you so much for choosing to work with HJV. And I can see that you obviously have a brilliant background. My team also says he's got an excellent portfolio. So, I mean, it looks like you're definitely the kind of guy we want here in New Zealand, and we would love to see you. All right, my team is telling me time up. I don't see where my little bell is, but like I said, we're all in shambles for us. I'm just gonna do that. That's my car keys, which is parked behind. So thanks as always for watching my videos. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that beautiful twilight sky in the background. And going forward in future, I'll hopefully be better organized. In the meantime, I'm sorry to my apologies to all our other friends who joined us today: Sham Surendran, Wasiuddin Kazi, Ghulam Rasul, Shilpa Jose, Karthik Sapola, Hari Menon, Anup Sasindran, the Torian, uh, the West Jolly. This guy's calling me again, whoever he is. Uh, the Khadindra Shrestha, Lijo Paul, Sheikh Sidhu, Syed Ibrahim, Jatin M, Anup Joshi, Felix Philip, Basis Shires, Rahul Pawar, Molazam Hussain, Abu Bakr, Rajesh Singh, Karthik Nair, Karen Tate, yep, Deepthi Tiwari, Love Vedera, Leo Porthur, Malika Mitra, uh, Palesh Pantambekar, Ravi Parik. Thank you so much for asking your questions as well. I'm sorry I was not able to answer them in this particular session because we try and keep it to an hour every time. And if I'm not able to answer them, my awesome team will get in touch with you, and we have different levels of accountability and answering ability within our team. And if at all it does require my attention, it will definitely get pumped up all the way to me. And yeah, absolutely happy to continue to share my advice and information in this friendly and frank style, which hopefully is becoming the trademark of not just me as an individual but of my entire team as well. All right, guys. Thanks for watching my live broadcast as always. This will go on to become a video and sit on YouTube and Facebook. Please watch it, share it, and let people know that there is a guy called Aaron Jacob who sits in Hamilton and talks every week and provides good, clean, honest, sincere advice about studying and migrating to New Zealand. Kakiteano, which will see you later. Till the next time, Pumarie, which is good night. Bye bye.